Hello and a good morning. And a good morning it is. After COVID, 3 weeks later, finally back in the mood to make some food. That's a new slogan. In the mood to make some food. And you want to know what kind of food you can make after in bed, not knowing whether the next day will be in your own bed or not. And now we're going through all the goodies that are still around and have to be maintained. Unfortunately, the food that has its own life expectancy, and it doesn't want to go by my lifestyle. It has its own lifestyle. Here is the food which I prepared here just about a few weeks before COVID, and thought I had it all figured out, that I would never get any schimmel anymore. Well, that experience has not worked out 100% yet, because I obviously, having neglected the cheese in the fridge while I was not interested in looking for food at all, but merely to try to make out my position in life and whether I would wake up the next morning with a bitter mouth even more than before I went to bed with. And so here is my kingdom back again. Thank you, Lord, that I can actually function and enjoy doing what my stomach says you have to do. You have to maintain. So here you have to scrape off the unwanted stuff from your cheese, for instance. Right click there. Yes, that's what it is. And then it's been scraped off against the sidewall of a new kitchen design, where here this regular water will run out with a plug, and this controlled by foot pedal. So when I push the button, the water will run on, and this will open up and wash this mess here away. The mess that I have just created now to show you how to do it. And then there will be here another one of those drains right here in this corner, and that will be the garburator. And the garburator is for the stuff that you normally would want to throw away because you didn't know how good it is for the fertilizer, etc. But when you have the garburator here, and you make it actually going down into the garburator container, so to say, which has all the goodness in it, and the fermentation and whatever goes, and is not being wasted to go to our sewer system that costs millions and millions of dollars just to be able to flush it into the ocean or into a river. And now if we materialize the independent small stuff, then we have already saved half of the cost, together with, instead of a regular toilet, using a poulet. And I have to hurry up because my new creation here, which is actually quite different, this one here has many different type of items in it. You know, there is a pancake with a special mix, hot mix here, and that pancake is created with my own little what we call a stove pan, and the stove pan will be very simple. I explain that later, but very efficient actually. And it's a multi-use tool again. Here I have all kinds of tools that maybe people are not familiar with when they're in their regular kitchen. There is, for instance, there a hot plate. So when you're using the toast on top of that there, you put it back on that hot plate as not to burn the arborite underneath it. And then, of course, the actual kitchen consists of many different, very simple items that can be improved even further, of course. But just to give you an idea right now, when we take this one wonderful cake, it was created here by this wonderful corned beef palm empty shell, which I just finished one of them in my supper using all kinds of little tricks and stuff, But this actually does very well as a stove top like this. And then this one here works very well when you take this off, for instance. And then you can do it. You can see how much space I have. I have so much space I don't know what to do put all. But this is the actual toast machine, which is a very simple aluminum plate that you just put up on here on the burner there, and then you use your flipper like with this one here. You can then take the toast off like that, and then you put it on your plate, in this case wherever you have the plate that you're eating from. I'm a bit disorganized here in showing what I want to show, but I can in the future foresee like a robotic helmet that I have on my head, which is motion controlled. If I tilt it one way, it will turn this way, and if I tilt the other way, it'll turn the other way. So therefore then, by just moving my head up and down, I should be able to explain what I'm doing without holding that cell in my hand, and that will give me the mobility. So that is one of my very next, after I finish my breakfast here, which I am just starting to. But I also have to tell you a new way to become a caffeine addict. And I think you would appreciate that if you just make a cup of tea, like in this case, and then you take one of the, what I call a pill, which comes from up here in the thing there, and it's called, let me go on the light a bit. It is a caffeine pill, pure caffeine, about 16 cents for a cup of pure coffee. And then you put that into this wonderful tea of yours, which I am now making basically with several ingredients which are unique and different but really good. For instance, this one here, I would call it the Rabina effect. You have this squeezer here, and you just squeeze in a few drops, whatever you want to like to make it taste like, and then you use the other ingredients, which is the main ingredients actually. It's going to come out right out into the dark now, and that's called the lemon extract. Again, you're doing it with a squeeze bottle, so you can just go under the proper target with it, and then you turn a couple of squeezes, as many as you want, to make it basically tasty the way you want it. And then you take, last but not least, you take again the caffeine and drop one of the pills in here. After the water comes off, your burner, which is up here, a two kind of a burner, which you then basically use also for your lunch afterwards, where you make these little cup arrangements that will basically, everything goes in that is left over, and then reheat it and make a nice little soup out of that afterwards. So now we have the cover on it, of course. Make sure that there's no ingredients that you don't want in there, like little flies and stuff, whatever. But anyway, this is now getting to the point where we're getting kind of organized as a minimalist in a area where people say one could not live and be happy. And I tell you, to be happy is when you are, after 4 weeks, declared free of COVID-19, and then it doesn't matter whether you drive a Tesla or an old clunker, and whether you have to do your own breakfast, which I'm going to go now and finish in about 2 minutes, and I will tell you more later on. This is a brew which I contracted, which is very tasty. Anyway, have a good one. We'll talk to you soon again on my next experience, Hands in the Kitchen.